Greetings and welcome to episode 264 of the words. Nope, we're going to do that again because I almost choked. Don't ask.
Don't want that. We do not need that.
Greetings and welcome to episode 264 of the Words About Games podcast, the weekly news and discussion and culture and discussion podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander, joined this week by Daffyd Moody.
Hello, here's me you're looking for. It's Friday, ladies and gentlemen. You know what that means, because I'm pretty sure I forgot to say that last week, but I didn't this time. How is everyone doing? I hope everyone is well.
You've been slacking.
I know.
That was probably your worst performance of that I've heard so far.
Well, thank God I didn't give up my day job, mate.
Got a good point. I've been all right. How about you?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
I'm also joined by Red Bearded Fox. Continue. You gotta let me intro both people before you start having a conversation. That's how this works.
Sorry, I like throwing wrenches and things too much.
Yes. We got questions for you, Foxes. I remembered these from last night.
Ooh.
Yes, we have questions for you about American houses.
Oh, no.
Do you guys put your washing machine in your bathroom?
No.
Oh, okay. Apparently this game, what was it called? Flipper House?
I was playing House Flipper.
House Flipper last night, and everyone in that game was asking him to put a washing machine in a bathroom. And they were all American houses, so we literally just thought, is this an American thing? So I thought I'd ask you.
That's weird. I mean, like, if the bathroom was big enough and it had its own, like, separation, maybe, but, like, no. Like, usually our washer and our dryer go in, like, a separate room that's usually mostly like a storage room and or, you know, like where the pipeline is already created, which most of the time they create it for like a storage room for tools and or appliances or, you know, whatever extra stuff you need, that kind of sort of thing. And you usually put your laundry and washer in there. Like my mom's house, like we had it in it was part of the same room that had a pantry in it, but it was also a part of a separate like a sink. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But no, I've never seen it. That's interesting. I've never seen it in a bathroom before. I wonder what that would be like.
Well, Amy, the question has been answered. It's just a game thing.
Well, they were all like,
I wouldn't think you would. Like, that seems like it would be really annoying when you're just trying to take a pee. Like, you're just like, here, and you're just like, I'm just trying to pee here.
Through the past the.
Especially with how Amy positioned it sometimes in the house.
I was putting it where it told me to put it.
Did you? Okay.
I had the specific thing on the wall already. Like, I couldn't put it anywhere else.
That's fair. That's fair. That is truly fair.
I mean, don't blame me for this shit.
I never blame you for anything.
This is a weird game.
It was hugely relaxing to watch Amy do this for some weird reason.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I was just chilled. Had my seat fully lowered down. I was just like replying to her sometimes, and I was just like,
I'm that way whenever I like watching people do city builders, like SimCity or something, or like, you know, like the dungeon builders or stuff like that. Like, I like sitting back and just, you know, having a drink, chilling, just watching them make things. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that.
I mean, it's a good way to end a day that started with me beating Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, that so I imagine that you definitely beat it before you posted the video, but when you had started
Yes.
but when you had started talking was when you had said, you're like, I just beat, like, I was thinking, I was like, it must have been like really, really close to then. So you beat it kind of early in the day then, I guess.
I beat it in the afternoon. I played it for a few hours. I went on this like run. Where did I start? I started from. Where the fuck was I? I started from. I think I did three bosses. Because I did 2 optional bosses before I went to do the final boss. Including that champion Gundyr dickhead with his little back kick. Fucking, that was as toxic as the Overwatch community. That Jesus.
Champion Gundyr is. He reminds me of some of the older ones. Like when you fight in Dark Souls 1, I was like, you're actually kind of hard.
Well, I sent you that message because like the back kick caught me completely by surprise because my aim was this guy's got a giant fucking spear thing. I'm gonna get behind him because that seems like the safest place to be. And then when I finally got behind him, he just went, "Nah, mate," and he just back kicked me across the level. I sent you that message being like, "What the fuck was that?" And then I fought him again, and he launched me into the air. And then as I was coming down, he just kicked me out of the air, and I was like, "Oh, is he reading my DMs?"
The funniest bit was that after playing Bloodborne and the pigs doing the back kicks, I was fully prepared for anything else to try to do the same thing, and then I went to go do it to him, and then I saw him kind of starting to move his body a little weird. I was like, and then I dodged away. I was like, "Yep, that's exactly what I thought that was, a back kick, you son of a bitch."
Nope, I just got kicked in the head. Nothing.
I finished Mass Effect 3.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
What kind of
emotions came back?
Really?
Yeah, I love the characters and in the games, the trilogy in general. But yeah, a lot of emotions came back for me. I was just like, God, I love this franchise.
So what ending did you go with?
I picked the Destroy ending. I always pick the orange one.
Okay.
It's the one I think they're gonna go with when it comes to
when they bring it back.
When the new game comes out in like 10 years' time. Or whatever time they want to bring it out.
Do you think they might bring Joker back?
No, I don't think so. For me, I've researched into like theories and everything from the teaser trailer for the new one that they're saying like is going to be coming and everything.
That's always dangerous. That's
I know that.
Dangerous.
I know that. Definitely, because all these theories will get shut out the window by within a year, probably. But no, when you see Liara, which has been confirmed, it is Liara in the teaser trailer. She's like at a matriarch's age now, which is around 600 years old. So she's like 500 years.
Way long dead. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
if he somehow survived that explosion, even though they had that cheap ass ending of him breathing at the end, everyone's basically dead. Even my beloved Tali and Garrus, everyone's dead. Maybe probably Grunt maybe not, because Krogan can live for a long ass time as well, because I'm pretty sure Rex says he's like 600 years old in the game himself. So Grunt, he could still be alive theoretically, but no, I think it's about a good hundreds of years into the future, and I just have this feeling, you're gonna go, no, it's not. They're not doing this, David, at all, Amy. But I think it's gonna be a crossover with Andromeda.
Well, yeah, obviously. Why? There was Andromeda dialogue in the teaser trailer, and 2, why would they set it that specific period of time?
Well. And the galaxy's there. They show the galaxy right at the beginning as well.
Like,
they show the Milky Way and the Andromeda galaxy.
They just happened to set it at the same time as Andromeda was happening. Yeah, okay.
I need to beat Andromeda so I can actually know what the ending is at least.
The ending it plays out how Mass Effect 3's ending should have played out.
Interesting, actually.
Obviously on a smaller scale, because,
Yeah, versus like our entire universe versus that planet. Well, which I imagine you go to other planets, so I don't think it's the entire universe in Andromeda, right?
No.
Or is it?
They don't have super nerdy time. They don't have mass relays in Andromeda, so.
Well, yeah,
they can only go like one cluster of stars.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, actually, I totally. Okay.
Super nerdy.
But yes, I am super excited. I'm going to be playing Andromeda one again soon, and my intention is to replay as Femshep soon as well, because I've really got the urge to play as Femshep. I gotta bang my boy Garrus. You gotta get it in there.
You won't shut up about banging Garrus.
I won't.
Banging
Garrus and befriending Tali as my girl.
He managed to talk about it in the fucking Mass Effect 1 video about banging Garrus, and it's just like, can we just wait till the right game? Is that okay? Is that right? Is that fine?
Yes, dear.
But I am thinking about doing a special Dark Souls stream just for you foxes, because I got the fist weapons. And I leveled them up to plus 10. I was thinking about just trying to see if I could just. I'm not going to play through the whole game trying to punch things, but I figure if I can get through like the first bit of the game, because I kind of like made a promise on the Dark Souls 1 stream that I didn't really fulfill of like, let's punch things.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, like after everything wanted to punch you, it was just like, have fun. Good luck.
Good luck. Bye. Then everybody's gone. I've been abandoned.
Yeah, my my little to no experience with fist weapons, because when I basically come up with a gargoyle and I wanted to use them for the first time, I was like, this thing's gonna take too long. And then I gave up on them.
I forgot to say, I know the racing name I'm gonna have for F1. Words about racing.
How'd you manage to come up with that?
Someone said it on the stream today.
Okay.
I was like, oh, that sounds good. Yeah.
So this is a podcast where we talk about the news and the culture and all the stuff going on around the video game industry. There are timestamps in the description below the video on YouTube or wherever you get your audio podcasts. That could be at Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and some other places that I've never heard of before. I mean, I can't really keep saying that. I've definitely heard of them before because they're in my list. But I've never been to them before. I don't use them. I don't know anything about them. It's probably just easier to say I've never heard of them before. It's very warm. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this podcast. But I'll try.
Moody was talking about how it's really warm and he can open up his window and it's going to be really warm for you since you don't live very far and you can't open your window. I was like,
I can't open my window. The sun sets like that direction. So it's like out the window. So like in the evening, I get the full blast of the summer sun, and I've got the light, and I've got the two monitors, and I've got the PC, and I've got the Chromebook in front of me, and
let's get this as down to a 1 hour podcast. Let's go. Boom.
No.
I was going to save your life, Amy, but never mind.
Psychonauts 2 aims to be more accessible with new Invincibility mode. This is from Leanna Ripper over at Game Informer. He writes, in recent years, the gaming industry has been taking more meaningful steps towards accessibility. Xbox has been leading that charge, living up to its slogan of gaming is for everyone, but that company is far from the only one trying to do better in terms of what it means to be a more accessible game. Psychonauts 2 is aiming to do just that by adding a new Invincibility mode, and while that decision seems to have some backlash from the community, this option is completely voluntary and does much in the way of making sure anyone that wants to play can. Double Fine reaffirmed the feature in response to a tweet from Xbox that read, quote, beating the game on the lowest difficulty is still beating the game. The studio's response was, quote, if you beat Psychonauts 2 with the Invincibility toggle on, you still beat P2, end quote. This back and forth was inspired by a conversation that has been years in the making, but has been much more at the forefront as the accessibility spotlight grows brighter, and more games aim to capture that Dark Souls and Sekiro magic in terms of both story and challenge delivered. Where many feel that their gamer card would be revoked by knocking down that setting, despite it being an option, others need it in order to be able to play. This much is evident with the Xbox Adaptive Controller, which allows for tailored controls so that anyone can dive in despite their personal circumstance. Quote, this is an option to choose in the game. It will not be chosen for you. It will not be chosen for you. That's not a quote. I don't know why I don't know why I thought there were quotes on that. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to reset myself here. This is an option to choose in the game. It will not be chosen for you. If you're the type of player, the one that wants the hardest challenge possible, you can absolutely still get that with the Psychonauts 2 experience. The Invincibility mode isn't taking the place of any difficulty setting, and it's not removing the more challenging ones. What this offers is a chance for those that would like and or need more assistance to be able to play through the game in a way that is doable and is comfortable. It takes easy mode to the next level, not unlike those mods and console commands that PC users love called God mode, where you can just sit back and enjoy the journey at your own pace. And there's some quotes at the bottom of this, just backing all of that up. I don't think I am thinking you read them. Psychonauts 2 is going to have an Invincibility mode.
Nothing wrong with this whatsoever. To all the people who've complained about this, go fudge yourself, seriously. It's for allowing people to be able to play this game who struggle to be able to maybe hold a controller properly or any other reason. Accessibility is an incredible thing that needs to be pushed more and more and more. Backlash towards this is just laughable and just sick, and you should be ashamed of yourself for it. You're not telling you to play it that with that addition in there. You complete and utter pillocks.
I don't know if Fox is listening for something or if he's dying on the inside. Or
I'm dying on the inside.
I'm dying on the inside too, Fox.
Is it something I said?
No.
I thought we were going to have it out there.
Just suddenly be like, no, fuck you. Every game should be the hardest possible thing ever. No.
I enjoy my hard games very much so, obviously. We have Dark Souls conversations all the time. If you are complaining about how hard Psychonauts is, you literally have gone down the last rung on the stupid fucking totem pole of shit to complain about when you have nothing that you should be complaining about. If you want a hard fucking game, it's not Psychonauts.
I went PG for everybody.
I'm glad I turned him off.
Going rated R. I love it.
Sorry, you don't play Psychonauts to play Dark Souls. You don't play Psychonauts to have any kind of experience like that whatsoever. Here I am fucking eating my own hair because I'm going nuts.
So he's counting himself down. He's just
seriously, if you're complaining about this, go lock yourself back in your own fucking basement. No one wants to hear it. No one gives a shit. I'm sorry. That's just like you were literally complaining about the last possible thing you can complain about. Why? Leave it alone. Let people have accessibility. Let people do it how they want to do it. And yes, they're still gonna beat the fucking game, even if it's on invincibility mode, because that's what it means to beat the game. You got through all of it.
Pretty much. It's good. This is great for accessibility. We've been championing accessibility here for years, so this is good. But even if you just wanna play the game through on invincibility mode for whatever reason, fucking do it.
You just want to have a chill time, yeah.
I want to chill with Psychonauts, right? Fucking do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hate seeing this discourse brought up, because inevitably people start throwing names around like Bloodborne and Dark Souls, and hey, look, I fucking love those games. I do. They should have an easy mode though, but those games don't have nothing to do with other games. Those games are their own thing. When I played Dark Souls 3 over the past couple of weeks, I didn't go in there expecting I was going to have a nice, easy time. I expected I was going to have a challenge. When I beat the final boss last night, I was literally shaking when I finished it.
That's amazing.
Mostly because I did it by accident. I wasn't supposed to. I forgot. It's a whole thing. Anyway, if I'm playing, I don't know what other games have I played recently. If I'm playing Ratchet and Clank, right, I'm not going in there with the Dark Souls / Bloodborne mentality. I'm going in there with a Ratchet and Clank mentality, where it's like I want to have fun, bouncing around with all these different guns of just shooting bad guys. I don't want it to be super difficult. When I played Judgment and finished Judgment a couple of years ago, I got partway through that game and I turned the difficulty down to easy because I just wanted to get through the stories. I don't give a shit about beating people up with kung fu moves. I was like, I just want to see the story. So I did that. And it was awesome.
More on Judgment later.
Really ruined my entire day. I was like, I'm having a great day, and really went, ha 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 ha. Copy paste, send.
Yes, I was literally like,
yeah, this. And yeah, the people who have been complaining about this on social media, you're pathetic. You're pathetic.
Yeah.
You complaining about people having difficulty options and stuff. Guess what? You don't need to use them. If they said it 700 times at this point, and I'll say it with as much passion as I did the first time. If there was an easy mode in Bloodborne, I still would have played Bloodborne the way I played Bloodborne. But Moody might have also played Bloodborne.
I'll say this: if there was an easy mode in the Bloodbornes or the Dark Souls type of game, they would sell a hell of a lot more conditions, then they do. That'd be a lot more profitable of a game if they had that in there, because the game feels scary for a lot of people to want to try it. I know it's a learning curve and everything like that, and and you just like, you pay attention, you learn the things, that's fantastic and whatnot. But for me, I have crap hand-eye coordination. I really do. I suck at it. Watch me play Mass Effect. I suck. Even though I love those games, I have terrible hand-eye coordination for that game, but I still love it. But see, either way, come on. Like, if they had that mode in there for Dark Souls or the Bloodborne, I would have been playing those games. I may not have still enjoyed those games. That's a different completely thing altogether. But I could have had a proper go at them and said, "Yo, Amy, you're right. Foxes, you're right. They're awesome. I want to like be there, but I can't."
This is what I keep saying to people. Because, again, inevitably these games get brought up, even though this was about Psychonauts too. It's just like, I know loads of people who just want to be there. It's just like, me and Foxes will have, like, conversations about, like, Dark Souls, like we just did at the beginning of this podcast, or Bloodborne, and, like, Moody just, it's nodding his head. Because, you know, for many valid, legitimate reasons, you don't want to put yourself through it, which is totally fine. And it would be nice if all three of us could have that conversation.
But
that's
because then, like even whether you like them or whether you got through them or not, like you would have some basis of understanding and like how you could compare and contrast, or like what feels, you know, how it feels like to you versus, you know, like us, and there would be much more room of a conversation to between each other, you know, because, you know, you would have some input.
Yeah,
but.
I mean, there's the thing about you were saying about hand-eye coordination as well, and it's like I always say, I said it in the Bloodborne video, and I'm gonna say it in the Dark Souls video, is that like challenge, we all experience challenge differently. Like if there was an easy mode in Bloodborne and I played it normally, and Moody played it on easy mode because of your hand-eye coordination not being great, we might end up actually experiencing the same level of challenge. And you might be like, yeah, this is fucking dope. But because that's how things work. Like that's how life works.
While I will say one thing, like I don't necessarily feel bad. Like okay, let me make sure I word this correctly. I feel bad that there isn't accessibility, because it gates off, and it, like, you know, it definitely dissects some people from enjoying the game that they can't, because, you know, whether accessibility or just too hard, or, you know, just some things in and of the game, like in and of itself, that like actually just keeps you from enjoying it and or even playing it. And at the same time, it's like I don't want that to be the reason why people don't play it, you know, instead of it being like a reason where it's like, yeah, I tried it, and while I did enjoy some things, it's just like I couldn't get past this point because it's like it was either too hard, or it was, you know, it you know, it's not my type of game. There's still a lot more room for convo there, but at the same time also being like having accessibility is never a bad thing, you know, basically, is trying to wrap it up too, you know. And so, to be honest with you, like, why they actually, like, don't get me wrong, I understand why they keep their games the way they do, but if they did ever really want to actually appeal to a lot more people who haven't got into it before, accessibility would be an easier thing. Or because I've never made a game, so I don't know if it would be easier, but it seems like it would be an easier gateway for people to get into.
Yeah.
The thing I've hated about the discourse around the word accessibility is that they make it out, when you say accessibility, when it comes to the hardcore gamers, it's all like to say, oh, you're just making it easy, an easy mode or anything like that. I'll say this right now to you idiots. Accessibility is in every single fucking game in the world. Look it up. Just having volume bars in there is an accessible option, you bellends.
Mm-hmm.
Got me to swearing, guys. It's a bad influence.
After, what was it? It was like the early 2000s or something like that. It was actually an option and feature in most games for accessibility, whether it be colorblind accessibility, whether it be hearing impaired accessibility, whatever it may be. It's been in so many games as it is. And to be honest with you, the more games that I go down to the options and I see accessibility, like there's even options for me that I prefer, like whether it's like limiting my HUD. That's something that I just kind of like because I like the look of it, but it's an accessibility to me that I don't mind utilizing. And yeah, more games should feature it as much as possible.
Yeah, like last night I was streaming Pass Flipper, and I always go into the menus before I start streaming games. Just to look through all the options to make sure everything's like subtitles are on and stuff like that. And I found an option to turn the cockroaches into broken glass, so you don't have to deal with cockroaches.
Oh, that's amazing!
And I was like, that was great, and I used it because I hate stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I just like turning it into broken glass was just like, all right, that's cool. Like, and I'm glad that's in there.
So actually, one last thing, just so like we can move on, because that reminded me, cockroaches. Grounded.
Yeah.
When you could actually turn the spiders into like blobs. Now, don't get me wrong, I keep them still looking like spiders because sometimes I like being scared a little bit, and so sometimes it still freaks me out even when I see a giant spider running at me. But the fact that it's in there for someone to be like, no, I don't want to see them at all. I just want to see a blob. And that's still enough scares someone because it's still the thought of like, it could be a spider. But the fact that, you could turn it into broken glass, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I want Creative Assembly to do an update for Alien Isolation just so we can turn the alien into a blob.
I don't think that would help.
It would be scary on that game.
Yeah, it'd still be scary.
I don't think that would help. No. I don't think you can turn it into anything, and I don't think it would help.
That's true. Like, just seen a giant blob chase up here.
Giant blob, Krusty the Clown. It wouldn't matter.
Oh no!
Barney the dinosaur. I love you, as he's just like running down the hall.
Oh, God. I played a horror game on Dreams once where someone used Barney the dinosaur as one of the things that chases you, and it was very bad. Like it was pretty scary. But yeah, I want to wrap this up by just saying as well, like there's a prominent YouTuber out there who's like sending harassment to a bunch of people because he managed to simultaneously send harassment towards a video game journalist who disagreed with him, and also managed to, in his backpedal, I won't call it an apology because it was a sorry you're offended post. In his backpedal, managed to insinuate that disabled people aren't part of the core gaming experience. And to that person, I said, fucking log off. Delete your account. Jesus fucking Christ. If you don't know what I'm talking about, good.
Yeah, I have no idea who you're talking about. I'll ask you after the podcast.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
Recently, I saw a fucking Instagram about someone who actually plays with his mouth. He plays Call of Duty with his mouth, and I was blown away. I was you're amazing. You inspire other people to actually be like gamers and shit like that. Like, that's awesome. Like, you warm my heart because like you this is how much you love gaming.
Let's move on.
Gaming's for everybody.
Gaming is for everyone. Microsoft has got it right there. Speaking of Microsoft, Xbox's boss is worried that gaming is losing its history. This is from Andy Robinson over at VGC, who writes, Microsoft's head of gaming has said he's worried about the state of video game preservation and called for all platform holders to come together to figure out a way to safeguard the industry's history. Backward compatibility has been a key feature of Microsoft's Xbox Series X and S marketing efforts, with the company promoting the console's ability to play a wide range of original Xbox, Xbox 360, and Xbox One games. Many games take advantage of the new console's capability to look and play better than they originally did, and others support features like FPS Boost, which almost doubles the original frame rate. In comparison, Sony's rival PlayStation 5 console only supports backward compatibility with PS4 games, and Nintendo Switch hosts a limited number of retro games via subscription. Earlier this week, Xbox head Phil Spencer appeared on the Kinda Funny Gamescast to discuss Xbox's ongoing efforts to improve access to its older games and called on the wider games industry to improve the way in which it approaches preservation. Quote, I do worry a little bit about losing our art form and the history of it. When I think about old ROMs and MAME and these things of where these old games are going to go as the hardware that's capable of running those games, I really wish as an industry we come together to help preserve the history of what gaming is about so we don't lose the ability to go back. He added, I think about what the Paley Center did for TV. Paley early on saw that the television industry was getting ready to throw away literally the tapes that these old shows were on and said, hey, I want to archive those. Because at some point, somebody will want to go back and watch the Ed Sullivan Show or something, and those things shouldn't be thrown away. As an industry, I'd love it if we came together to help preserve the history of what our industry is about, so we don't lose access to some of the things that got us to where we are today and built this industry. That would be a cool thing. End quote. Asked about the future of game preservation at Xbox, Spencer pointed to cloud gaming as one solution for emulating older systems, which is what most people do now.
Nothing wrong with this. This is fantastic. It's what everyone, hopefully he's right, and like with all the companies can maybe come together or something like that to try and preserve the games and everything, because old games are fun and awesome, ladies and gentlemen, and they deserve to be looked after and whatnot.
Yeah. I didn't know what the fuck is. You looked like you were gonna say something, or whether you would just, I don't know.
Sorry, I've been butting in a lot, so
no, butt in, butt away. That's our dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, like we've had conversations about how, like, you know, like I've definitely downloaded emulators to play old games because just can't play them anywhere else. You know, like I'll openly admit that I've done that. I haven't done it recent times, but I've done it. I do agree. I know a lot of people have a lot of discourse about like what's art, you know, nowadays, and like how you save it and so on and so forth and whatever. I look as, I mean, this is about to be not a great like analogy, but let's take the original E.T. game, which is still probably rated as one of the worst video games in history. Someone still would love to play that someday because they would love to understand where our art came from, like where, like, you know, where we started to where we are, you know, like, you know, that kind of sort of thing. And it's like one of those things. It's like if you were to look at a 14th, 13th century painting, you know, that's like preserved and saved in like some hall somewhere, and someone wanted to go experience it for the first time, people out there are already trying their best to preserve as much art as possible, and paintings, sculptures, whatever it may be, so that way people can experience it. This should, I think video games, even though there are a lot of people who don't think, you know, it is art, that should be preserved the exact same way. I think that between its beginning to its middle to whatever end it may come to, I think that it should be looked upon as an art form because it took a lot of people to fucking make it. I mean, sometimes it takes one, sometimes it takes 1,000, sometimes it takes too many, but whatever it may be, art still will come forward from it, and if you want to experience, then it should be available.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I think, I mean, you know me, I've been banging the preservation drum forever, but like I think like if people want to like experience older games, like classic games, or even not classic games, like I would love to stream E.T. the video game. Like I think that would be a fascinating experience. I would love to have that experience. But I just think it should be easily available to people. Like it'd be great to like Metroid Dread's coming out, right? Like in October, and like Metroid is a 30-year-old franchise. Like imagine just being able to like easily access the older games, go back and see where Metroid came from. Like it's not easy. It's almost impossible. In fact, in some cases it is, because I don't think every Metroid game is available, even if you have a Nintendo online subscription. I don't know. I haven't had one of those for a long time, but like Xbox is doing it right. Like they have their back catalog of Xbox games going all the way back to the original Xbox, and they're saying, look, we want to make as many of these available as possible for anybody who wants to play them. Do you have to buy them? Yeah, you have to buy them. Like, I'm totally okay with that. Like, that's you know, capitalism, baby. But like,
it is what it is.
It is. Yeah,
it is what
it is.
At least the option's available and it's there, and if you want it, you can have it.
Yeah, and I feel like place, like you look at the other two companies, and there are other companies involved as well. Companies like Atari, like Sega, like console manufacturers of like days gone by. But even just looking at the ones that are currently still around, like PlayStation and Nintendo, like they arguably have even more like historically relevant libraries and back catalogs, especially Nintendo. They've been around since almost the beginning of the games industry. And like preserving those games should be really important. Like, it's not going to make these companies shitloads of money, but I think it's important because this is an art form. And like, to use your analogy of painting, it would be like if we lost like classic games, like if we lost, like, it's like painting over the old painting with a new painting because the new painting is new, you know, like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think we should just be bringing it forward. It's like, yeah, you can buy an original PlayStation and an old TV and source like the old games on the discs and whatnot. But what if it was just as simple as me turning my PS5 on and deciding, you know what? I really fancy revisiting Silent Hill. And I just go, okay, I'll go to the PlayStation Store, I buy it, I download it. Like, my PS5 does whatever it does. It emulates it, whatever. Like, and I can play a Silent Hill and it works. And I can enjoy a game that I enjoyed 20 years ago.
I know the old argument comes up about like, well, you know, we have to develop the hardware and the program to actually be able to bring it, you know, up to spec, so to speak, or like, you know, whatever it may be. I almost kind of have the feeling that the way that technology is nowadays, it's almost would be what, like a few bucks out of your pocket, like literally a few, for you to develop something like this, whereas you would see a lot more bucks come into your pocket just because, you know, you would be the only source to be able to bring it, you know, whether it be Nintendo, whether it be Sony, whether it be Microsoft. Like, sure, you're not going to see world record numbers for bringing an old Silent Hill back. You might see a few thousand. You might see people who be like, fuck yeah, I'm going to go play Silent Hill right now, tonight, because, like, it's back. Like, why not? You know, I want to have some nostalgia. Like, I'm sure there's quite a few people who would definitely easily do that. And it would be, let's not forget about, like, speedrunners have become an even more relevant thing, that it would be so easy for them to just be like, I don't have to go through all these hoops and bounds just to play a game that I've been speedrunning for fucking years. I could just go play it as is, the way it was, through how I'd want to already can, through something I already own. Yes, easy, quality of life. But they're not going to take the time of the day because they don't want to spare some dimes out of their pocket.
I mean, Phil makes an excellent point in what he's saying at the very end of it, and what's written at the very end of this article, where it's just like, the cloud can do this. And as far as like the work that could go into it, it's like, the work's been done. Emulators are a thing. Like, you can get an emulator for most consoles these days. You could work with people who created those emulators to bring those emulators to your platform in some way.
PlayStation already have an emulator. It's called PlayStation Now. They have over 800 games on it right now.
You know what? Yeah.
You got a good point.
They have 300 of them are available to download, but they're basically like PlayStation 4 games and PlayStation 5 games, I think. But,
yeah, it's because of the way PS3 was designed with the cell architecture.
Yeah.
When you downloaded a PS3 game on your PS5, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, but no, yeah, like... if PlayStation, like for PlayStation, like I'm only speaking on PlayStation behalf here, and like that. For them, to them, they're basically saying we are emulating. We are to them, they are, because like I've just said, they've got over 800 games on there and whatnot. And I know we've had the conversation like Phil Ryan, not Phil Ryan. Was it Phil Ryan?
Jim Ryan.
Jim Ryan, yeah. Phil. I think I just put Phil Harrison and Jim Ryan together somehow, and that just makes it even worse. But either way,
what have you done?
What have I done? That's their final.
What have you done?
What have you unleashed upon this world?
And they took over Microsoft. Oh no. Yeah, he said like, what was it? Something stupid about people don't want to play.
Why would he was looking at he was looking at Gran Turismo one next to Gran Turismo Sport, and he was like, why would anyone want to play this one?
Yeah, and everything like that. Like,
because it's a fucking good game, Jim. Even I played it.
So, like, to them, they are doing it. It's just like PlayStation. I'm just gonna say, never fucking market PlayStation Now. You have all of these games on here, but you don't see anything. When it comes to Xbox, they're like Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, and everything like that. You could literally have your cake and completely fucking devour it if you push this as well. PlayStation. This is the thing about it. You may be the console market leader and everything like that, but you could literally totally dominate more miles ahead than you already are if you push this and actually properly did things properly with it.
Yeah, like this would be cool. This would be a cool thing to do. Like Foxes says, it's not going to make the big bucks, but like
it's still going to make some people happy. It's going to be a little bit of change in your pocket. Yeah.
Fuck me, if I could get access to the PS1 and PS2 game libraries, I would subscribe to PlayStation now. Yeah. Like, I just would.
This is how crazy it is. Like Game Pass is like that only has just over 100, give or take 200 games on it compared to the PlayStation's one. And Game Pass is the more preferable. It's the more attainable. It's the more accessible. It's the more easier one to be able to get in everything, because obviously you can do it on PC or on the Xbox consoles. And PlayStation just like, yeah. You bought Gaikai for billions of dollars and you've barely done all of
it. PlayStation just comes out and goes, we're going to raise the price of AAA games. Great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank God rental places still exist. Otherwise, this would be an indie games channel.
I think there's still a chance that might happen one day, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, it's
Amy loves indie games.
It's getting there.
It's the AAA process and companies.
It's getting there just from fucking, just like, I'm trying to think of the way to describe it. It's getting there just by default. Like, I'm playing more indie games and less AAA games. Like, that's just what's happening right now.
Even though we talked about AAA games at the beginning.
We did. We always do. I was going to do a thing.
Do a thing, Amy, do a thing.
It's going to take me a minute. It was kind of like hey, I'm just going to prove this point.
What do you think of my Sarah Ryder?
I think it's cool.
It looks good.
While
Amy proves your point, may I go use the restroom real quick?
No. Yeah, let's put we'll put an edit point in here. So bear with me, because the internet signal in this corner was a bit of a dead zone. But like just on Moody's point about PlayStation Now and Xbox and stuff, here I am playing Yakuza 7.
Nice.
Was that easy? So maybe PlayStation Now do need to step it up a little bit.
They do, I think they are, but it's like the babiest of all baby steps, because like they've just obviously bought that PC company to do PC ports. So I think they're eventually going to be transferring obviously their exclusives more over to the PC area as well for everyone, at least on the PC area to start. So they're like 10 years behind Xbox.
Wild, especially considering we're talking about backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
Game preservation. You think they'd be really good at it being so far behind?
Oh man, I'm just thinking about the fans, which I know that there are probably 0 to 100 of them maybe actually left, but Medieval fans could actually look forward to something again. I'm not trying to pick on Medieval fans. I just like, for a series that has been dead for so long and for a character they bring back so rarely, it's just like,
brought him back.
They
brought him back,
and no one spoke of it since.
They released the game of it.
They did. They released a remaster of Medieval. And then they never marketed it. They never talked about it. It came out. No one ever talked about it. As Jim Ryan probably said when he hit the release button, because he personally hits the release button on all the PlayStation games, I'm sure. He was like, "Why would anyone want to play this? It's an old game."
And why did you put money in to remaster it?
Why don't you just let me play old games, PlayStation? You've got a killer back catalog, and I would give you money. I would give you a lot of money because I would buy a lot of games.
She would.
We have to spend more money on single projects and single.
We've got to spend more money
games.
making half our studios make Last of Us
remastered.
Nothing wrong with The Last of Us.
Let's remaster The Last of Us instead.
I'm okay with that.
I can play that. I can literally play that. I can play that right now. Give me like 2 seconds to turn my PS5 on, start downloading it. Like, come on. Could you maybe like remaster games I can't play? Like, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic. Anyway, speaking of games people can't play, work on Apex Legends cross-progression slowed by recent hacking problems. This is from Emma Kent over at Eurogamer. He writes, Respawn has been battling hackers in its online games for some time, but the situation escalated recently when hackers blocked players from accessing Apex Legends in order to complain about hacking in Titanfall. And unfortunately, it seems the saga is having an impact on Respawn's development plans, with work on at least one highly anticipated feature for Apex Legends, cross-progression, slowed by the recent spate of attacks. Earlier this week, Apex Legends game director Chad Grenier responded to a question about cross-progression on Twitter, explaining that, quote, recent hacks on Apex and Titanfall have slowed down the progress of it. He added that the studio needed to context switch to solving live game issues, end quote. Although cross-platform play was implemented in Apex Legends last year, players have so far been unable to transfer progress between accounts on different platforms, aside from moving between Steam and Origin. It's a feature the team seeming again to introduce, with Grenier explaining via Reddit that implementing it will be, quote, much harder post-launch since users may have multiple accounts to merge or use, end quote. Given the ongoing problems with hacking in Apex Legends and the Titanfall games, it sounds like it could be a little while longer before we see this feature implemented. This isn't the first time Respawn has discussed the impact of DDoS attacks and hacks on its development plan. In response to one wave of DDoS attacks on the Titanfall games back in May, Director of Communications Ryan K. Rigney described the situation as frustrating, elaborating that it takes, quote, weeks of work to address each new stupid thing. Instead of delivering new value, building incredible things for players, we've got people tearing our hair out, digging into the newest exploit, the new type of attack, some fresh way to target streamers, or high-rank lobbies, or everyone. Weeks of work thrown away, end quote. What were we talking about last week, Mooney? Congratulations, you played yourselves. And here we are.
Oh, but didn't the guys from Respawn were saying that it didn't do anything? It kind of did. Obviously, it's pushed things back, which is terrible. I think.
No, they were saying they were saying the hack has accomplished nothing.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure I clarified that. Thank you very much for clarifying that for me. Yeah, like you said, you played yourselves, you idiots. At the end of the day, all you've done is you've pissed off a developer who you want them to fix another game that they develop, and
which is
not
fair.
only that,
wanting them to fix Titanfall, it's fair. That's the only part of all of this that is fair enough, right?
That is fair, yeah. But now you've pissed off the other gamers who want cross-progression on Apex. Like now me. You've just pissed us off. Yeah. Now you've pissed Amy off. You've pissed me off. You've probably pissed Foxes off. It's just like, well done, you morons. You've accomplished nothing except anger at you.
Willy Wonka said it. You get nothing. Good day, sir.
Good day.
You don't solve a problem by creating a new problem, as is in making yourselves a new issue. Like, you don't say, hey, focus on our game, so we're gonna fuck up your current game that you're so focused on. It's like, it fucks you both over. It doesn't do anything for you. It literally makes it worse for everyone. This does nothing. You created a loophole to, it's like going in someone's asshole to come right back out to say, hey, I'm going right back into someone's asshole, kid, because that's just the only loop I have. It's just like, thanks. Yeah, no, I don't get it. I really don't. I
think you've broken Foxes, guys.
The first story, the second story, the third story. Foxes is on a tear right now. It's good.
Yeah. I do wish that there was so much less hacking in video games. I wish that we had such better anti-cheat and cybersecurity for this, so that way companies could actually take it for real. But it's also one of those things that, as much as I'm going to wish it, unless people take it seriously, it is what it is. But at the same time, creating problems for yourself is not how you're going to fix this solution. If anything, it makes you look like an even bigger asshole. which going right back into another asshole. So your loop all over again.
It's a very colourful metaphor.
You're a snake eating your butt end.
Yeah.
Eating yourself.
There you go.
That's all
There's a better one.
You're a robber. If you know that reference from Red Dwarf, you're awesome.
Should we talk about some handheld gaming?
Why not? Handheld is cool.
Handheld is cool. Valve's gaming handheld is called the Steam Deck, and it's shipping in December. This is from Jay Peters, James Gartenberg, Richard Lawler, and Sean Hollister, all from The Verge. You're right. Valve just announced the Steam Deck. It really did just announce it. Its long-rumored Switch-like handheld gaming device. It will begin shipping in December, and reservations open July 16th at 1 p.m. ET. It starts at $399, and you can buy it in $529 and $649 models as well. The device has an AMD APU containing a quad-core Zen 2 CPU with 8 threads and 8 compute units worth of AMD RDNA2 graphics, alongside 16GB of LPDDR5 RAM. I read all of that out loud, and all I could think was that one clip from that one show. I like your funny words, Magic Man. There are 3 different storage tiers: 64GB eMMC storage for $399, 256GB NVMe SSD storage for $529, and 512GB of high-speed NVMe SSD storage for $649, according to Valve. You can also expand this available storage using high-speed micro SD cards. Steam Deck has a huge number of control options. There are 2 thumbsticks, but also 2 small Steam controller-style trackpads beneath the thumbsticks, which could give you more precision for things like first-person shooters. The front of the Steam Deck also has ABXY buttons, a D-pad, and a 7-inch 1280x800 touchscreen for 720p gameplay. The device also has a gyroscope for motion controls. Like the Switch, it has 2 shoulder triggers on each side, and there are 4 back buttons, 2 on each side, as well as built-in microphones. As for the battery, quote, Steam Deck's onboard 40-watt-hour battery provides several hours of playtime for most games. For lighter use cases like game streaming, smaller 2D games, or web browsing, you can expect to get the maximum battery life of approximately 7 to 8 hours. You can play Portal 2 for 4 hours on this thing. If you limit it to 30 frames per second, you're going to be playing for 5 to 6 hours. End quote. And if you need to pause your game, the Steam Deck offers a quick suspend resume feature built into SteamOS that will let you put the device into sleep mode and pick up where you left off later. Excuse me. Valve will also sell a dock you can use to prop up a Steam Deck and plug it into external displays like a TV. You won't need a dock to plug it into a TV though. Valve says that, quote, the deck can be plugged into your TV, monitor, or even your old CRT if you have the right cables, end quote. The deck comes with fully fledged USB-C ports that contain HDMI, Ethernet, and USB data, as well as standard Bluetooth. You'll have native Bluetooth audio, something that's missing from the Nintendo Switch. On the software side of things, the Steam Deck runs what Valve is calling a new version of SteamOS, that it's optimized for the handheld's mobile form factor, but the actual OS is based on Linux and will use Proton as a compatibility layer to allow Windows-based games to run without requiring that developers specifically port them for Steam Deck. Ultimately, though, the Steam Deck is still a fully-fledged Linux computer, meaning that more technical users will be able to jump out to the regular Linux desktop too. Valve notes that you'll be able to plug in a mouse, keyboard, monitor, and install other games, regular PC software, browse the web, and more. As someone pointed out on Twitter, you're also going to be able to access all the Xbox stuff on it, like Game Pass. Download Xbox apps. Basically, it can also be a mobile Xbox if you want it to be.
This is cool.
Yeah, with all the features that this thing literally has, whether it be hardware and like in the software, because SteamOS and while it being Linux is also very compatible. They've been developing the Steam like OS Steam layout and everything like that for so long that it was like. When you just do it in Steam now, like just in regular Steam, it actually looks like it's already like a console kind of like form and program. So it'd be easier, or it's so easy to like shape and form it to this as well. I personally love the fact that this is technically, like, to me, all this screams really, 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 really good. There's only one thing that I would say that is a little bit iffy, and that's calling it a Steam Deck, because there are other things called Stream Decks. And God, if you're just gonna have someone on the phone who's gonna always miss the R, and you're always like, "Yeah, get a Steam Deck," and they're gonna be like, "A Stream Deck? You're talking about this blue thing, with the few buttons on it? All right, yeah, sure." And then they bring that home, and just like, "Yeah, it's not what I was trying to say, but yeah." I mean, like, it's so close. It's so close to one another, but whatever.
And
People
they don't care.
No, they definitely don't, because
this is the Xbox
Valve has never
One.
given a shit. Yeah,
this is what we were talking about last year, really. This is the Xbox One X versus the Xbox Series X argument, where everyone was trying.
Yep.
There were people trying to say, like, people are going to get them really confused, and I was like, I guarantee they're not.
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Do you want the thing that
That's
plays
true.
games, or do you want the thing with the buttons on it? I want the thing that plays games. Cool.
True.
Simple, easy. That's all it is.
$399 though. Yowza.
How much was the Wii U?
The Wii U. God.
Or the new Switch you're talking about?
No, well, both actually, technically.
The
What
new,
is it
the
about
new
that?
Switch is $349, so it's $50
Mhm.
cheaper than the Steam Deck. God, the Wii U. God.
The 300?
In this country, I think it was $279.99.
Okay.
In America, I think that might have been like $329, maybe. I'm not sure how much
Because
did the Wii
the
U
way this is described,
cost
it almost
at launch?
it almost sounds like the better, more upgraded version of like a Wii U would have been if they actually had a bunch of fucking features to it and a bunch of games.
So the
Which,
Wii
to be honest with
U
you,
in North America, the basic Wii U cost, because remember there was a basic and there was a deluxe set. The basic set was $299. The deluxe set was $349. So that answers that question.
To be fair, whether it be the name or whether it be probably their library that everyone knows that it's going to come with, I see why that they would probably price it at that. I mean, it's definitely a console price.
Well, I watched the reveal trailer,
you know.
like the trailer video thing that they put out, and like they were showing playing Control. They were playing Control. They were playing Jedi Fallen Order. They were playing some other games, like some less intensive games. But I think the fact that it was playing Control was pretty impressive, considering like Control's technology and physics engine. Like, that's a statement. Like, if you know much about that game, and as somebody who made a 90-minute video about that game, I know a fair bit about that game. This is cool. Like, the price is what got me. Like, 'cause I remember the Steam machines years ago, where they were like, we're gonna make our own PCs that are gonna be like optimized for playing Steam games and stuff, and they were really expensive. So the fact that they've gone so aggressive on the price, like the entry point is $399, is actually cheaper than a PlayStation 5.
Aye. Well, the disc version.
Yeah.
To be fair, Valve is very big on making sure that their price is definitely like. It's interesting because Valve very much focuses on just them. Like, they don't really care about like their outside market too much. So when they price something, they're like, no, this is the price. You're either gonna buy it or you're not. Yeah. Oh well, like whether it be the Index or
I was about to say like the Index.
Like any of their VR machines, like, in all honesty, they just price it and they're like, you either like us enough you're gonna buy it or you're not. Like, that's fine. To be honest with you. And it doesn't bother them at all, because to be honest with you, whether they hold the market on something or not, like, they usually kind of go with the flow. Like, whether it be from programs to, actual hardware, they're just like, it's just our model,
Yep.
Yep, indeed.
I like it. I might buy one day. Be able to finally play PC games. High-end PC games. But then I'd have to play Aliens Fireteam. Maybe I won't buy one.
Please let that game be good.
I've got the perfect excuse not to play it. I can't play it on my PC.
It's okay, Moody. You and I are going to be co-op teaming the aliens all together on PC.
Cool. We're going to be best of friends again, Fox. Is fantastic.
He says best of friends.
I said again.
The bestest of buds. Ubisoft at high risk of losing talent after abuse allegations. This is from Marie D'Alessandri over at GamesIndustry.biz, who writes, in its annual Universal Registration document, Ubisoft identified moderate risks of, quote, inappropriate behavior by employees, end quote, at the company, as well as a high risk of losing or failing to retain talent following the wave of abuse allegations from last year. The document was unearthed earlier this week by Axios, but initially published in early June. The URD is a mandatory document for public companies, identifying risks at the firm as well as its results, among other things. Ubisoft's 2021 URD addressed the accusations of toxic culture and harassment from last year in the risk factors section, saying the accusations resulted in a loss of key talents and damaged the company's reputation and image, which may also impact its appeal and retention of talent. Quote, in 2020, the movement to denounce behavior that is toxic and sexist within Ubisoft's teams led to the unexpected departure of several key talents, the document read, adding that some positions could not be filled immediately and therefore resulted in delays in decision-making, postponement of expenses, or the teams concerned losing their bearings, end quote. Later in the document, the firm added that it has a zero-tolerance policy when it comes... Sure you do. When it comes to inappropriate behaviours, before adding, quote, although Ubisoft has taken this situation very seriously, making every effort to remedy it and has demonstrated its resilience, the group cannot provide an absolute guarantee that this type of risk will be controlled, end quote. The firm noted that further toxic behaviour at the company could lead to loss of talent, an obstacle to its attractiveness and to retention of talent, loss of efficiency, damage to the reputation and image of the group that could lead to a decrease in activity in our games and in revenue, end quote. In terms of legal and financial consequences, it added that it could trigger the company's liability policy and lead to financial penalties. The risk section related to toxic behaviour has been added to the 2021 version of the document and was not present in the 2020 version. Last year's document saw the inability to attract and retain talent as a moderate risk rather than a high risk. I think that's meant to say retain, not retail. Even Google Docs is like, that should say retain. Either that, they're trying to sell people. Which, I mean, it's Ubisoft. I wouldn't put it past them.
True.
You dropped this in Discord, Moody. At the beginning of the week, I think it was.
So I did. And all I want to say is to this talent. Run, bitch! Run! Get the hell out of Ubisoft as fast as you can, because they ain't going to look after you, going off on the reports that we've all talked about and read about and everything like that. They're still not looking after you. They've promoted the idiots who have been rude to you, and that's me being nice, being complete dickheads to you, and everything, and even worse. Or even just taking over a complete project called the Assassin's Creed Infinite and being the head of 2 studios basically now. Yay, well done, you bastards. Like, what the hell? Like, just get out. I'm amazed more haven't ran and legged it as fast as the hell they can. Like, seriously, I'm amazed we have not heard an article earlier from, like, Jason Snyder or anyone else just literally saying, Ubisoft staff have legged it from Ubisoft.
Well...
and that's how I would title the fucker as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, I mean, we have talked about it before. It's not as easy as just leaving a job sometimes.
Yeah.
Even a job where, like, you know, abuse is running rampant, which, I mean... Like they talk in this risk, because this is a risk assessment. I know exactly what this is. I've seen them before, where they're assessing their risks in various categories. And I love this risk assessment. I think it's amazingly informative as to how Ubisoft is going to tackle these issues going forward. Because as they say, you got to read between the lines. You can't just read the lines. Where they're talking about, like, we can't control this risk. Yeah, but you could. You could maybe just get rid of the abusers and the people that covered for it. Because covering for abuse is just as bad as abusing. Like, if you know abuse is going on and you do nothing about it, nothing to stop it, and you're in a position of power, it's the same thing. You're enabling it. I had to make that quick adjustment there. If like you're working at Ubisoft and you're like a lowly employee who sees the abuse going on around them, there's nothing you can do to stop it. And I'm not calling you out. I'm calling the management and the leadership out. I want to be very clear about that. Oh, it could harm our reputation. People might buy our games less. I guarantee that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to stop people buying them whatsoever. The only time they didn't buy one of your games was Unity and Syndicate, and that was just more of a backlash because of Unity's brokenness more than anything.
I was going to say, everybody bought Unity. Nobody bought Syndicate because of Unity.
I didn't buy Syndicate, although I did play the first chapter because it was
Syndicate's
on...
a good game.
Syndicate
I think it was on... I think I played it on Game Pass, actually, and the first chapter wasn't that bad. It was okay.
Syndicate was good. I played Syndicate and Fallout 4 at the same time, and I preferred Syndicate.
I don't blame you, actually. I think I did play around the same thing, and I was like, man, I'm really
people were chasing me.
I'm gonna go stab somebody in the back.
People were chasing me through the streets for that opinion, let me tell you. But I think history has proven me right. Yeah, this is just more Ubisoft being Ubisoft and taking the path of most resistance. You know, like... You don't. I mean, they don't want to get better from this, because if they did, they would have done the things to make it so that their company would get better from this. And they've done some stuff, like they've let some people quit or resign rather than fire them, so they can keep all of their stock options and still make shitloads of money off of the games that got released last year. The CEO still works there, and in the future, the CEO still works there. He definitely knew about this. Or he's the worst CEO ever.
Of all time. Yeah. And we already know a couple of already bad, terrible CEOs. So he would trump them somehow. How would that be possible? How could you trump the Activision CEO? How? Or the EA CEO? How could you trump them, mate?
Hey, whoa. Bobby Kotick is a terrible, awful, horrific human being, but he's a good CEO because he makes himself and his shareholders fucking billions. That's what CEOs' jobs are. But, just...
My
I don't
short,
want to talk about this anymore.
Sweet, not ranting take on this is that there is a certain someone, and I shall not say his name.
It's Moody, in it.
Because I may, if I said his name, I may summon him, and your demise may come sooner and swifter than you think. But somewhere along the line, someone will come, and they're going to rip and tear through everything that you have to expose everything that, you have let fly by. And then you're going to reap what you fucking sow because you didn't decide to take care of it. There is management and there's control for this sort of thing. And by all means, the Slayer's fucking coming for you.
See, I know what you're talking about. But at the same time, I've recently been rewatching Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I went straight to Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
So you went left. You went left and I went right.
And I followed right.
And Moody just went, let's go this way.
I don't need a reason to watch my old teenage crush, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Neither do I. That's why I'm doing it.
I don't need a reason to slay demons. What?
I got it when you said rip and tear.
Yeah.
All by myself.
He's talking about Doom.
No, I legitimately do think though that if they're not going to sort their own shit out, there is definitely a higher enough power that will come and sort your shit out for you. Because if enough people actually i.e. your employees or people who have had enough of the actual abuse will go to links to go and say it like it is, put you down, and to be honest with you, you could just handle it and actually get good people in there who will not only make your company look better, your hire and every employee better, but at the same time, maybe even bring good ideas to the fucking company that you have not been promoting for a long time.
Truth. Let's talk about digital rights management. What a sexy subject. Pirates claim Resident Evil 8 crack fixes performance problems. This is from Jody McGregor of a PC Gamer. He writes, while some players had no problems with the performance of Resident Evil Village on PC, others have reported regular stuttering, especially when swarms of flies appear during boss fights and enemies grab the player to go in for a bite, as well as during...
I've noticed this too. Sorry.
Oh, fair enough.
I've noticed it too.
Cool. As well as during cutscenes, well, not cool, but, you know.
Yeah.
As well as during cutscenes when enemies die, and in the market area of the village, so, like, most of the fucking game. Like, you just described, like, 80% of Resident Evil Village. A pirated version of RE8 by Cracker Empress claims to have fixed these problems by bypassing the de novo DRM. Empress's notes in the crack say, quote, all in-game shutters? All in-game shutters... Stutters. What? All in-game stutters like the one from when you kill a zombie are fixed because Capcom's DRM NT points are patched out, so most of their functions are never executed anymore, and the worst is that their DRM was fully obfuscated in Denuvo's VM, making it run even slower, end quote. There's a video, if you got PCGamer.com, find this news story, you'll see the differences in a side-by-side comparison. However, it's worth noting a couple of things. First is that the two sources were captured with different versions of NVIDIA's GPU drivers installed. The retail version is being played with 466.63 and the cracked version is running on 471.11, which was released 19 days later. More significantly, the cracked version is completely missing the vampire's bite animations, and according to the YouTuber who captured the footage, other boss attacks are absent as well. This is not, like... This is almost not news at this point. That de novo DRM like harms the performance of games on PC, right? Like I feel like we have this discussion once a year.
I'm really surprised that they even decided to even enable it. To be honest with you, because I've noticed this too. Now it's interesting because like it's not all the time. Like for example, if the animation is played out and it stutters, usually if the animation plays out again, it's usually smooth. And it's like, the fuck. You know, it's always me raising my eyebrow of like, what is, you know, like what is infringing on the animation from playing it smoothly? Because it's obvious that it's a cutaway versus actually like something that's just happening to your character. You know, it's an actual like cutscene that's being forced versus actually like something just like Dune guy falling into lava or some shit like that. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, like I mean, I believe I've seen plenty of games. Just like it's not like the games are unplayable; they stutter a lot. Mm-hmm. Sonic Mania, that was another one. When it got released on PC, it had the de novo DRM on it, and it's Sonic. Like you really need that to be smooth. It's all about moving fast, and I remember that was stuttering. They had to patch the de novo out. Like there's been a few games where they've had to patch the de novo out to actually fix the performance problems of the games.
To be fair, the last time that I played Village, I don't think I ran into it again. It was my first couple of times. It was actually like in the first week or two. So in all honesty, maybe it has been patched.
It could be that it could have been patched. If they like this story is not exactly like today. It didn't happen today, so it's entirely possible that Capcom saw the press that was building about this and then went shit, did a patch and fixed it somehow. But like,
it's interesting because I was wondering, because it changed all my options. It's actually that happens all too often whenever it comes patches. That like I was like, what if they had a big patch or something? But I never noticed it. Bet you was what it was.
Yeah, that might be what it was. The issue is with like, especially with de novo, like the only people. So de novo, obviously, it's a DRM, digital rights management. Developers put it in their games on PC to make them impossible to crack, which means that they're impossible to pirate, download, and play without paying for them, which is fine. Yeah, do whatever you want. But the problem with de novo is it eventually will be cracked, so people who want to pirate the game will be able to pirate the game eventually, and the only people that are actually going to suffer are the people that pay for the game and to get it with de novo and suffer regular stuttering, as well as during cutscenes when enemies die, in the market area of the village, during boss fights when enemies grab players. Like, that's a lot of Resident Evil Village. I've played it all the way through. And it pisses me off, like, that people who pay for the game are the ones that end up suffering the most.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't make a lot of sense for actually something to continue for it's like, we're seeing more issues with this thing versus actually like a positive. I mean, don't get me wrong, like it's there for a good safeguard, but at the same time, it's like you could fix it or come up with something different.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what it is. Hopefully it gets fixed. That's all I can
It will.
say on
They'll
it.
turn it off. They always do. Like, whenever a story like this comes out about in-game, it's happened like a dozen times in the history. Like, they'll just turn the de novo off, and that'll magically fix the problem. It happened with Sonic. Anyway,
it's for a game that's got to go fast and with all its animations about being fast. People... Like, I could just see if I can like Sonic person go, the fuck? What is this? No.
It's like Sonic's a great the great example of why this is why de novo can be fucking bullshit, right? Because once de novo gets cracked, the only people who are having a good time with Sonic are the people who bloody pirated it, because that game runs properly. Anyway. Netflix reportedly plans to add first games in the next year. This is from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer, who writes, Netflix is moving forward with its plans to get into gaming in a big way. The streaming giant has now hired former EA, Oculus, and Zynga exec Mike Verdu as vice president of game development, Bloomberg has reported, and is set to add its first games to its subscription offering within the year. There's no detail yet on what the mix of games will look like, to what extent Netflix will make its own original games, or whether any big franchises you've already heard of will be part of the plans. Reportedly, Netflix's current plan is to offer games as part of its existing subscription offering rather than as a separate package or additional price tier. We first heard about Netflix's gaming ambitions back in May when the company began looking for someone to fill Verdu's new position. At the time, Netflix simply said it was, quote, excited to do more with interactive entertainment, end quote. Perhaps it shouldn't be too much of a surprise considering the rise in game streaming via Stadia, Xbox Cloud Streaming, and PlayStation Now, and in particular the success of the Xbox Game Pass subscription, itself often described by fans as being Netflix-like. I mean, that's how it happened, right? Netflix saw everybody talking about Game Pass as like Netflix but for games, and we're like, bitch, what?
Excuse me?
How dare you?
This isn't a surprise just because of how lucrative the gaming market is in general. And if Netflix can get into this and do something that's similar like on the Game Pass subscription service, which obviously that looks like what they're aiming for and whatnot, it could be incredibly lucrative just for themselves because they're in the red constantly every year. They're constantly losing money, and it's not going to be sustainable in the long term. So hopefully they can spending that little extra cash now that'll keep them in that red, just that probably a couple of more years, get the games into, hopefully get a good amount of games and some big hitters as well into this type of thing. Will hopefully maybe get them into the black and everything, and it's also just that gives that extra thing, doesn't it? It's like, oh, we aren't just Netflix, we aren't just films or TV shows, Umbrella Academy, The Witcher, etc. and etc. We are.
Oh, you liked The Witcher? You liked Witcher Season 2? While you wait 2 years for The Witcher Season 3, why not play The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt? Like,
exactly, yeah.
Like, I don't anyone expecting Netflix to suddenly start like producing loads of games. No, that's not what this is. This is remember when you used to be able to rent DVDs by post?
Yeah.
I think I felt my hair. Did my hair just go completely grey as I said that sentence? Like, did I just age 20 years?
You're still amazingly red. So.
Thank you. And sweaty.
That's right, yeah.
That's what this is going to be, right? When you used to be able to rent DVDs by post, you could also rent games. It was awesome. I did it all the time. Like, that's why I think it was a Screen Select. I think that was what it was called back in the day. And I used to rent games. It was awesome. That's what this is, but digitally. So, like, they're already doing better than Stadia because you're not going to have to buy the fucking game separately. You just, if you've got a Netflix subscription or if you get a Netflix subscription, you're going to be able to stream some games. Which games? It's fucking Netflix. Like, so basically any publisher who doesn't already have their own streaming service or like deals with their streaming service are going to put their games on fucking Netflix because they're going to get the games in front of millions of people without even trying.
Do you think they dabble in the indie department?
I think they will.
Think they mostly? Yeah.
I think they like Netflix is, because obviously Netflix has commissioned a couple of games. Like there was the Stranger Things game, there was the Dark Crystal game, like from smaller developers. So I think indie games all get in there as well. Maybe it's not like obscure indie games, like the sort of stuff you generally find on Game Pass, coming to Game Pass, but like the bigger indie games, I think would interest Netflix.
This is how big it could be for games like the small games, the indie games, or the big indie games, etc. Netflix has over 200 million subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. That's Game Pass is nowhere. Yeah, Game Pass is nowhere near that.
Yeah,
that's the thing about it. Game Pass is what, 20 million, isn't it? Something like that.
I don't know. We haven't heard any numbers for a while. Xbox Game Pass.
I heard it was like 25 or something.
Subscribers, it took off during the pandemic last. Yeah, I think the last time we heard about it was April. It was 23 million.
Yeah, so
in April.
You take 23 million, 200 million on Netflix. Netflix just got start throwing in a games category there. That's 200, potentially 200 million extra people looking at your game. Potentially, obviously, it won't be probably because obviously not all of them will be gamers and everything. But a huge percentage, I wouldn't be surprised, the gamers from who have a Netflix account. And so
I'm a gamer and I own a Netflix account.
Yeah, so like this is like for the gaming industry alone, this could be incredibly lucrative.
Oh yeah, big stuff. They'll have publishers again, who aren't already tied to Xbox Game Pass, let's say. I'd be surprised if they didn't have them lining up saying, "Yeah, we want to get our fucking games in front of 200 million people." Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus.
Yeah. Okay. The only downside right now. Sorry, Foxes. Go on.
No, you're good. I was going to pose the question: do you think it's one of those things that they'll probably have to fork out too much money to actually get games, companies put their games on their platform, so it won't get them in the red because
they're already in the red?
You think it could get worse though?
Yeah, they're already in the red anyway, so it's like they're trying to reduce that, but also trying to throw out with new content and everything. Because obviously they've lost. You've got they've just signed a combination deal or an exclusive deal with Sony. Sony's films are all going to be exclusively on Netflix, depending the region and everything like that. Because Sony, I don't have a subscription service, so they've obviously agreed to do with a Netflix one, so both of them get millions and millions and millions. Decide if what happens. I
think in the short term, yes, they are going to spend more money. Yeah, because they're going to need to. They need to set the set. You can't just do a Google Stadia and set the service up with 7 games.
True.
That won't work.
But in the long term, hopefully with enough renters.
But I think what'll happen is I think they'll be able to convince a lot of people based on the fact that they have 200 million subscribers that they might not have to pay as much for the games.
Do you think there'd be a rent to buy, or it's only a rent feature?
No, Netflix. I don't think Netflix has ever done any kind of
rent to buy
on its streaming service. I don't think they've ever done that. Disney Plus has Disney, whatever
premium access.
Premium access,
and that's only on Gate films that are like Black Widow, Raya.
Mulan. New films. I don't think Netflix would do that for. They've never done it for any of their content. So
I wouldn't be surprised if Netflix decided to take the model of maybe we can throw some games into a vault and say, hey, if you buy Netflix Premium or whatever it may be, you can play these games. And look like their version of a rent, but you get to play them at any point in time.
There's tons of directions Netflix could take this. They could for video games, they could adopt a Disney, whatever Mooney just said, option of a brand new game is coming out. Pay X amount and rent it, and you can play it for X amount of days on Netflix, stuff like that. There's directions they could take, but historically Netflix has never done that. They just raise the subscription price every now and again.
True.
Yeah. Which would, if this obviously blew up and everything like that, that price would go up, ladies and gentlemen. It would. What is it? It's I think it's £15 over here in the UK
there would
now.
be. I don't know. It depends which tier you're on.
Yeah, it is.
And I think mine's 10. but I'm not on the top tier.
I think mine's
don't be surprised if it would be up to 20 by
it'll either go up, they'll either jack the price up, or they'll add a Netflix Select Plus or whatever, which is like Netflix streaming plus game streaming.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Because it'd be unfair to alienate the people who just use it for TV and films.
But then on the but then on the flip side of that, they could also just make a pure Netflix gaming subscription.
Yeah.
That too.
I think we'll see what happens and everything. So
they'll probably test the waters with it a lot before they actually decide on any hardcore decisions. Although they probably have some decisions, some kind of pipeline. But yeah.
I've pruned a couple of news stories. I might have to prune a couple more, but anyway. Dispute over a PC version of Lost Judgement may see the series come to an abrupt end. This is from Natalie Clayton over at PC Gamer, who writes, a dispute between a publisher and talent agency over a Japanese celebrity's role in Yakuza spin-off Judgment may bring the series to a sudden close. On its reveal earlier this year, Sega hinted that this year's sequel, Lost Judgement, will be coming to Steam. I know it's Mooney's left. Because it was his fault. I'm blaming him for this. Oh, he's back. Better keep reading the news story now. Before turning around and say it had no plans for a PC release, that miscommunication seems to stem from Johnny's, the talent agency behind Takuya Kimura, who plays the role of series protagonist Takoyaki Yagami. Johnny's reportedly has strict policies regarding how images of its talent are distributed, which apparently extended to showing Kimura's likeness on PC. Sega, meanwhile, has been on a big PC push for some time, with the entire mainline Yakuza series, developed by Judgment developer Ryu Gakutoku Studio, now available on Steam. According to Japanese outlet Nikkei Taishu, via Kotaku, the publisher and the talent agency have been able to come to an agreement. If they haven't been able to come to an agreement. If they can't come to one, it's not just hopes for Judgment on PC that die, it may mean an end to the series entirely. Quote, those on the side of the game developer and those on the side of Johnny's are said to have been unable to reach an agreement regarding the platforms to sell the game, reads the Nikkei Taishu report. One wrinkle in the story is that the first Judgment was available on PC via Google Stadia. But considering how reluctant Johnny's has been to adopt the internet, previously refusing to even publish press images of its talent online, it's possible the agency simply wasn't aware of how Stadia worked. I don't think Stadia is aware of how Stadia worked. Nikkei Taishu's source also notes that this comes as disappointing news to Kimura himself. Himself a fan of the games, he seemed to relish playing the role of Yagami and was shocked to hear that this may no longer be possible. And then the quote that just says the same thing as what I just said. Moody, I want you to know that GIF I sent in Discord when you were like, oh, here's a new story. That said, I can't remember what it said specifically, but basically you ruined my day. So that's what I want to say. Like,
I did not do this to ruin your day, to upset you, to piss you off in any way. I won't lie. I just saw Lost Judgment and I thought, oh, a new story. Put it in the Discord. I never really properly looked at the article.
My disappointment is immeasurable and my day was ruined.
I am so sorry that happened, Amy. I do apologize. I hope this can get sorted and clarified and sorted out as fast as possible and everything like that, because I know you love the Lost Judgment series and everything and hopefully it can get sorted.
Judgment's incredible. Like,
holy
crap!
I'm genuinely surprised. Like, this would actually would be a problem. To be honest with you, like,
it shouldn't be a problem, right? Like, you think...
Yeah, like this seems like for this to be stopping something in its tracks. It's just like, wait, why? Like, couldn't this just get sorted easily?
I don't know. The talent agency doesn't want the thing to go out on the PCs. I don't know why. Because, like, it's going to make a shitload more money on PC. All games, like, all of the AAA publishers have been figuring this out very slowly over the last 5 years. All games that get ported from console to PC make a lot of money. It's weird, right? But, like, they've been learning this lesson one after the other instead of just all at once. Like, everyone's doing PC gaming now. So this is why the series could end, because Sega doesn't want to keep Judgment just on consoles when there's a lot of money to be had putting the games on PC as well. And it fucking sucks that some fucking talent agency that doesn't understand how technology works can just tank an entire fucking series.
I'm genuinely surprised that there isn't already some worded clause or whatever in some kind of contract through like, through companies and or like, the actors or the talent agency that just be like, yeah, you can't control this outcome because it's company decision versus actually like a talent agency and character decision. It's just like, wow, I'm surprised that isn't sorted. Yeah, like just genuinely.
Fuck's sake. Well, in this case, I'm going to relish playing Lost Judgment later this year even more because it might be the last one. Like, and to be fair, that's where I was at with the first one. Because when I played the first one, it was that thing of like, I don't know if this is going to do well enough for a sequel, so I'm just going to enjoy playing this one, and I enjoyed it immensely. Has the best, like, it has one of the greatest end title sequences of all time. It's amazing. It's a great game. It's very underrated.
Do you actually get to be a detective in the game?
Yep.
That's awesome. Actually.
Yeah. It's so like with Yakuza, obviously it's about Yakuza, and there's a lot of Yakuza like characters in this, in Judgment, but like you the main character is Yagami, who is is a private detective. He used to be a lawyer, and like he used to be a lawyer. He's not a lawyer anymore. That's all part of the backstory. It's fucking great. It's so good. Like I loved it. And I'm gonna love this one. Like when the trailer for this dropped, was it at E3 where the trailer dropped for Lost Judgment? Or was it just before?
No, I don't remember.
Well, either way, when the trailer for this came out and the story trailer, it looked so good. To quote another GIF, it was like, "Stop! I can only get so erect." So fucking good. I love it. Anyway, let's move on. Ghostwire Tokyo delayed to protect health of its creators. This is from Michael McWare over at Polygon, who writes, Ghostwire Tokyo, the next game from the Evil Within developer Tango Gameworks, won't make its previously scheduled release date. Originally expected in 2021, the game has been delayed to sometime in early 2022, the studio announced Tuesday in a statement posted to the game's official Twitter account. Quote, "We want to get the game in your hands as soon as possible so you can experience the unforgettable version of a haunted Tokyo that we've been hard at work building. At the same time, we're also focused on protecting the health of everyone at Tango. Our new release window will give us time to bring the world of Ghostwire alive as we've always envisioned it," end quote. Tango Gameworks said it will show more of Ghostwire Tokyo in the coming months. One of Xbox Game Studios' biggest games. Upcoming.
That's going on PlayStation first.
And it's not the last time I'm going to make that joke today either. Watch out for that later on.
Okay. I hope they've done this without crunching already.
Yeah.
I hope like if they were already crunching, then like I'm just gonna say what Amy always says, that just means more crunch and everything. But if you've literally done this and you've already been working at a nice steady pace, but you've realized you're gonna need more time, then yes, this is fantastic. This is brilliant. This is a cracking idea. There's no doubt about that. Delaying a game is always a good thing. There's no doubt about that. And even though we're all looking forward to this game and everything like that, we taking care of your staff, taking care of your developers and your people is the most important thing than a video game. And
big stuff.
I hope it's the spot on.
I want less games made by. What was it? What's the quote? I always try to remember it and I always fuck it up. I want less games made by people who are paid less they're paid more to work less. There you go. I got it. Not paid less, paid more. Paid more to work less. And I'm not kidding.
Paid less to work more.
That's the games industry as it currently is.
Oh, wait. Wrong run.
No, that's just reality. Oh, what have I done?
What have I done?
Rip. It gives me hope that like they're not crunching because again they mentioned that they want to focus on protecting the health of everyone at Tango in the statement, but also like Ghostwire Tokyo was announced a good few years ago at this point. So they clearly have been working on it for a while.
Last year, wasn't it?
No, it was announced 8 years ago. That was when Ikumi Nakamura came out at E3, man, and blew up the internet. Yeah, it's spooky.
That was one of the reasons why. That was one of the.
I'm gonna find this
the.
now, and you're gonna watch it after this podcast.
It was so good because it was so endearing, and it was honestly one of the biggest reasons why I was like, I'm looking forward to this game because let's be honest with you, that presentation was awesome. But nonetheless,
yes, it was.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, like, I really hope that they haven't been crunching, because if they can show that, yeah, while sometimes it does take a while to. Oh, go ahead.
No, you keep talking. I'm just gonna say, like, Moody might be able to get it from just like me holding my muted Chromebook to the screen.
Yeah, there you go.
This was the moment.
She was so cute.
Ghostwire Tokyo got announced. It was like the big thing that happened at E3. Also, my internet's pretty bad. So yeah, you remember it now. Yeah. That was when Ghostwire Tokyo.
It was so endearing and so adorable.
She's left now, and she
has left the. She did leave Tango. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
E3 2019. So that was like 3 years ago.
But I hope that they haven't been crunching, and that this is them like, no, we're actually respectful of our employees, and like they've been working at a good pace, but they're a little bit tired. Okay, but we're gonna let them relax for a little bit, like work at their own pace, whether it's mental issues or actual physical ones. Like, we take care of them, and we want them to continue liking our company and continue wanting to work here and keep coming back, that kind of sort of thing. Yeah. The longer you take care of your employees, the more they'll feel like, hey, they actually may care about me and actually respect me instead of crunching me until I die.
I want to leave in high numbers on a high level risk. Ubisoft.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do it, Ubisoft.
But good on them. I hope it's for an actual good thing. Yeah.
Yep. Me too. Summer Games Done Quick raises over $2.8 million for charity. This is from Emma Kent over at Eurogamer. He writes, after a week of weird and wonderful speedruns, this year's Summer Games Done Quick event came to an end on Sunday with a total of $2.8 million, or £2 million, raised for charity. This year, the online speedrunning event was raising money for Doctors Without Borders, a charity that provides medical assistance to those affected by conflict, disasters, epidemics, or exclusion from healthcare. The donations from the latest event mean that Games Done Quick has now raised over $34 million for charity in total. SGDQ, or just GDQ in general. Fucking love it. They raised so much money. It's great. Like, I do miss the crowd. Like, because I obviously like
instead of it being
online.
live,
like some of the best speedruns I've seen from GDQ, like one of the reasons they're the best is because of the crowd as well. Like, there was a Doom 2016 like 100% Ultra Nightmare run from a couple of years ago.
If it's the same one, we watched the same one. Yeah,
it's like 2 hours and 40 odd minutes, and it's just the crowd, the donations, the runner, like everything was just. I watch it every now and again. It's amazing.
I love it when they continue doing traditional things and like you kind of just get thrown in the mix about it. Like whenever they just yell certain things or like something happens on screen, everybody like starts cheering for, one thing versus another or whatever it may be. And it's just like, the crowds are quite fun.
They're a big
like
bonus.
They're a big addition to it. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to them coming back. But these are
they the ones.
These are good.
Sorry,
no, go for it.
Are they these the ones who are going to do Dragon Age?
They did Dragon
Inquisition.
Age. They did a Dragon Age Inquisition speedrun.
Games Done Quick, yeah?
Games Done Quick. I'll send you some links because I'm starting a bonus section of the podcast for the next few weeks because I'm catching up on all my GDQ speedruns and I want somewhere to talk about them. This is Amy's ever-evolving list of awesome SGDQ speedruns you should watch. Yes, they've already done it already. The whole event is already finished.
No, Origins. They did Origins.
No, they did Inquisition. I know they did Inquisition because I watched it. I watched them do it.
They did Pokemon Emerald.
They did a lot. I haven't watched it all yet, though. Well, I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I'm going to watch the ones that I want to watch and people tell me are good. Anyway, Amy's ever-evolving list of awesome SGDQ speedruns you should watch. Number 1, Demon Souls 2020 80%. Really good, really entertaining speedrun. Did you know they have to segment the speedruns from PS Plus and non-PS Plus? because
really
because of the PlayStation 5. You know the card. You know the help cards.
Yeah.
That you can only use on PS Plus. Well, in Demon Souls, you can use those to warp to areas to start the thing, the whatever you're doing on it, so they can use them to warp to different areas without having to go back to the Nexus and then come out of it. So they had to segment runs from PS Plus and non-PS Plus because the non-PS Plus ones were slower.
Someone completed Mass Effect 2 in 1 hour and 17 minutes.
Yeah. I haven't watched that one yet.
You should watch some speedruns.
You need to watch some
You really should watch some speedruns.
Moody, wait till you hear what I'm about to say next. Number 2 on awesome SGDQ speedruns, you should watch Super Mario 64 70-star blindfolded.
Literally.
I don't care.
Amazing. Incredible.
I love seeing the Metroid blind runs. Those are pretty fucking good.
Like a 3D game blindfolded.
39 minutes for Dragon Age Inquisition? What the fuck?
Watch some speedruns, Moody.
I think I need to take this bonus section back a step and explain what a speedrun is.
You know what a speedrun is, but 39 minutes, that's like a 40-hour game.
Yep.
39 fucking minutes.
Sometimes what they'll do, and especially when they had the audience, they'll bring someone special on, and they usually sit in the couch in the back.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll bring on someone who's just beaten the game, and like they'll give them the info. It's like, yeah, I just beat this game like a week ago, and it took me like 50 odd minutes, hours or whatever the fuck or something like that. And he like watch me beat this thing in less than an hour, and then usually they're just like, I feel like I've wasted so much time. Yeah. It's usually the person just like, what did I do for 50 hours?
I mean, generally a lot of the game ends up being skipped, but these are incredible skill exhibitions, like these speedruns, especially a 70-star blindfolded run of Super Mario 64. Number 3 though, Super Mario Brothers 3 100% co-op, very entertaining, 2 awesome runners. It's interesting to see how like the co-op changes, how like you have to strategize as you're going through, like who gets to play what. And that was good. That was a good one. Number 4, Dead Space 90%. Moody, did you know that Dead Space is a platformer?
I've seen the speedrun.
Because you fucking will if you watch this speedrun. In a game where you can't even jump, they turn Dead Space into a platformer.
Yep. Oh my god, I love the ingenious things that people get to come up with in some speedruns. Just because like it's stuff that you wouldn't think about, like whether it's occlusion or like literally like how you could just stand in one space for so long, and guess what? You can actually build speed and then gone.
It's like
it's just like, wait, what?
the Dead Space one, it was like there was like the alt. They were abusing like the alt fire on the pulse rifle when you were standing against a wall, and if you click it on a specific frame, it launches you down a corridor. It's just like, what the fuck? Holy shit! He was me just walking around like an idiot. The last one on my list, and again, I haven't watched all the ones I want to watch. This list is going to be popping up on the podcast for the next few weeks. But the last one is Halo 2, 90%, because the things that they do to do Halo 2, and like I think he does it in 1 hour and 24 minutes. It was one of the only speedruns I've seen that goes overestimate because his game crashed at one point. But like it's just he turns himself into a phantom. Foxes. Yeah. At one point he kills, because he's doing the first couple of levels co-op, and then he kills his co-op partner, and then he positions himself in the level in such a way where the co-op partner spawns and inside a phantom and becomes the phantom. So I think it's like the second level of Halo 2, and he just flies through it as an invincible phantom. I was just like, what the fuck? This is incredible.
As much as like it's now just like a normal casual thing, I still love seeing it's the box jump. I think the box jump up to the light so that you can actually walk onto the scarab. The scarab, right? The crab walking thing. And then he's literally able to just get straight to it. And I was like, I still love seeing that.
Box jumps on top of like a lamppost or whatever, and then he grenade jumps off the lamppost and lands on the scarab. It's just like, oh my god,
it's so good.
Fuck. Don't need no fucking sprint button, and if you speed run the damn thing,
you don't need sprint.
Okay, so we can do like, if you've got time, we got 4 stories left in the dock. We can do one of them. Like, that's
Sounds
how much
good.
time I think we have left. Which one, because Moody's having his mind blown by scrolling through GDQ's YouTube channel, which one of these 4 stories would you like to do, Foxes?
As much as I am a big fucking nerd about Super Mario, I actually do want to talk about how Sony won't appear at
Okie dokie. We'll talk about how Sony won't appear at Gamescom. This is from James Troughton over at The Gamer. He writes, Gamescom 2020. I can't. I'm just looking at the expression on Moody's face, and I think this is the first time he's ever scrolled through the GDQ YouTube channel. He's just like, they completed it in what? They did what?
Some of your favorite games are about to be ruined in front of your face.
Like, after we've done this, I'm getting some food, I'm sitting down, I'm watching a Fire Emblem 3 Houses speedrun. Motherfuckers did that in less than 2 hours. I played that game for 70 hours.
That game's actually hard as fuck, too, so...
Okay, I'll restart that. Sony won't appear at Gamescom. This is from James Troughton over at The Gamer. This is just me and you, Foxes. So this is just me and you now. Gamescom 2021 is underway next month, but Sony won't be in attendance. Plenty of the larger companies like Xbox, Sega, EA, Nintendo, and Ubisoft will be making an appearance, but PlayStation has again declined to participate, much like with E3 2021 earlier this year. Also, just like with E3 2021, this year's Gamescom will be an all-digital due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Initially, it held out with
literally ruined.
With the hope. Is he watching a speedrun right now?
I think so.
A physical convention.
I think he's finally gotten some of the parts in Inquisition. And he's like, how the fuck they do that?
Initially, it held out with the hope of holding a physical convention, but at the beginning of May, it caved. As spotted by Push Square, the press information list published by Gamescom doesn't mention Sony whatsoever, even with a Control F. You've got Bandai Namco Entertainment, Team 17, Activision, Bethesda, the works, but alas, not PlayStation. With the way the press release has been written, it is possible that Sony could be added to the lineup at a later date. Sony hasn't outright said anything as of yet. Go on, Foxes.
The reason I wanted to talk about this is that I realize that like they've got their own like little thing that they got going on, especially with State of Play and all that. But
they do
2 things, miss.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that was planned specifically?
I do.
I wonder why.
Sony's trying to. I don't know for whatever reason. Sony is currently trying to forge their own path. Right? They're trying to do their own thing. They're trying to build their State of Play as being separate from everything else. I don't know why. That's just what they're doing. You back? Are you still? Is your mind gone? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like some of the video games that I've loved growing up playing with, they just like gone. Like I'm like, I don't know how they did it. I'm gonna go try to do it, but sure.
Once you start getting into watching them, you'll even start watching games you never played before and just being like, "Whoa, shit." But yeah, State of Play. They're trying to make State of Play their own thing. So, like, separate from Gamescom, separate from E3 2021. They just want to get State of Plays to be State of Plays. And there's an issue with that, Foxes. And that issue was on display quite clearly for everyone to see last Thursday. And that's that State of Plays. They're not that great.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, are they getting that many concurrent people to keep coming back to watch? And
I imagine they're getting a lot of people watching because it's a State of Play. And they can't do anything. They can't announce anything, right? And you know what the rumor mill is like. I saw rumors that Silent Hill was going to be announced, that Final Fantasy 16 was going to be shown, like that, and then obviously none of that happened. All we got was
last week.
The biggest thing we got was 9 minutes of Xbox Game Studios' other biggest upcoming game, Deathloop. See, I told you I was going to bring that joke back. Bethesda acquisitions, innit?
Last week's State of Play. Week's State of Play has over 1 million views on it on the on PlayStation's YouTube channel. So for them, it's probably a success.
It's always a success.
Yeah. They don't care about the Discord about people saying they didn't have anything, they didn't show anything. They don't care about that. As long as they got the numbers they wanted, and that's all that matters. And if they're to them, is their numbers enough to warrant them not going to be at E3 or at Gamescom or anywhere else, they're not going to do it, and they're going to keep doing what they want to do and everything until the people stop watching them, which they won't, because Sony are that enigma right now where everyone's like, we know they've got stuff to show. What are they going to show? Wait, there's a state of play coming, but we're only going to show these games. But they could show something else. Well, we have to watch it then. We have to know. They might show something. Who knows? Tell us now, type of thing. And then they don't show it. They just show the things that they say they were going to show, and then people go and all like that. But no, yeah, it's like
I didn't watch it.
Neither did I. Yeah.
Not live. I watched it like 3 days later.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen one of them so far, actually, to be honest with you.
I watched the Horizon one, which I thought was really, really good because they just showed Horizon, and I thought that was a really good gameplay. I loved the one they did with Ghost of Tsushima. I thought that was really well done. I liked the one
2022's Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah, and I really liked the Last of Us Part 2 one they did as well. I love ones where they concentrate on their big AAAs and that they're talking about the ones that everyone really, really wants them to talk about, and that's their exclusives. They get a lot of love for that and everything like that. I'm looking at the Horizon Forbidden West one for State of Play game reveal. That has over 7 million views, and that was a month ago. So they're getting there. They're getting the people that they want and everything like that. So they don't mind that they aren't at E3 and everything. And as long as they're recouping what they want, it's all matters to them.
Because we've talked about recently about with them at like pushing, some of their only like their biggest things for like marketing, letting the little guys, kind of like fall off and whatnot, and also just doing the whole thing of like keeping a lot of stuff in house. Specifically to PlayStation. Do you think that they could isolate themselves too much that it might hurt them in a sense of like they don't want like little people anymore? Like they because they're not going to market them unless they get paid for it? Maybe
in the long run, maybe.
Yeah.
But for this at least this entire console generation, no. Unfortunately, not. No,
because people keep buying it. To be fair, so yeah.
The developers will want to have the games on the most thing that has the most
even if they're only getting
3%
of sales. Like they put the thing that they're out on PlayStation. For now, that's good enough. For now,
true.
Like 10 years from now, and we might be singing a different tune. But
yeah,
I highly doubt that.
I mean,
I'm thinking more like 20, 30 years. I'm thinking 10 years. No,
not that far. Like if that would.
I don't think it's that. I think it's further.
Think about where we were 10 years ago. 2011.
Yeah, we're still playing PlayStation 3s and Xbox 360s.
Yeah, we were playing Xbox 360s and Wii's. Actually, to be fair, everyone was playing Wii's. Let's move. Let's move on to games out next week.
Games out next week, ladies and gentlemen. Starting with two of the arguably ones that I think both me and Amy are very excited for. Crisis Tales, PC, the PlayStation, the Xbox, Game Pass, and Switch. I believe it's Game Pass for PC as well. I'm not sure.
I just put Game Pass. It's just said Game Pass.
Yeah, Crisis Tales is a gorgeous indie love letter to classic JRPGs with a new perspective peer into the past, act in the present, and watch as your choices dramatically change the future, all on one screen as you play. Me and Amy have played this game. I talked about it on the last Fashion Reviews. I'm super excited for this game. It looks really, really good. It's beautiful. Visually, it is gorgeous, like what it says. Death's Door, PC and Xbox. Reaping souls of the dead and punching a clock might get momentous, but it's honest work for a crow. The job gets lively when your assigned soul is stolen and you must track down a desperate thief to a realm untouched by death where creatures grow far past their expiry date. I'm not going to lie, how that was explained does not sell the game, because this game does look really, really good and I'm excited for it. Fallen Knight, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. Take a role of an elite knight and battle your way through an action-packed levels with intense sword fighting gameplay in a neo-classic side-scrolling action platformer. Save the city from a deadly terrorist organization hell-bent on exposing the truth you have sworn to protect. Akibi's trip, hellbound, and be briefed. Debriefed. PC, PlayStation, and Switch. Supernatural creatures are stalking the pop culture mecca of Akihabara.
Akihabara. I used to be able to pronounce his fucking full name.
This place, and they've turned you into one
Akihabara.
of them. There we go. Arm yourself with the Oku, a themed weapon, and expose their skin to sunlight in the HD update of the first game of the Akiba Strip series.
Akiba Strip. If you read it really fast, you'll see the pun.
Okay. Last Stop, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. Last Stop is the single-player third-person adventure set in the present day of London, where you play as 3 separate characters whose worlds collide in the midst of going to Wembley at the Euros final. That's a supernatural crisis. Sorry.
Don't make me remember that.
Yeah, sure. Urban Trial Trickery. Urban Trial Trickery. PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Grab your seat and pull off the most savage tricks and combos on your motorbike. Ride freely, spin round in the air, go back and forth, and let yourself be carried away by the fun, fast-paced gameplay, colourful visuals, and smooth controls. And finally, Orcs Must Die 3. PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Slice, burn, toss, zap, grind, grab. Massive hordes of repugnant orcs in this long-awaited successor to the award-winning Orcs Must Die series.
Orcs Must Die. That's a blast from the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Death Star, Cris Tales. Holy shit, next week's going to be lit.
I think we're going to have some games to talk about in the freshly lit reviews in
3 weeks' time. Yeah. Well, one of us might currently have Chernobylite due out in like 2 weeks or now.
Yes.
I really I'm really excited to actually see what they want, like what is the last final touches, because to be honest with you, a lot of the game's pretty much finished. So I really want to see what else that they're going to throw in. I'm sure it's going to be like some final touches and polish, but like it's already a really good game so far.
Ask Moody on July 28th. It's time for OpenCritic Head-to-Head. This is a game we play every week where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Whoever guesses closest gets 1 point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. Last week, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of F1 2021. I guessed it would get an OpenCritic average of 86. Moody guessed it would get an OpenCritic average of 89. And Foxes, while hunkered down, sheltering from a hurricane, guessed it would get an OpenCritic average of 91. F1 2021, at the time of recording, has an OpenCritic average of 86, which means Jamie gets 2 points.
Nice.
It was at 85 for the longest time, and it went back up to 86 today. I was like, oh, God. Of course it did.
I wrote this off as Moody's going to get this. Moody knows about F1 games. I haven't got a fucking clue what I'm talking about.
I thought you would get this too, actually, to be honest with you.
And then here
I went too high.
Here I am with my 2 points. Oh,
because of the other F1s being received so well, and because most fans like Moody rated them as good games, and
he won't shut up about how good last year's was. I'm dreading doing the podcast with him this weekend because I actually have to sit and listen to him talk about F1 2021.
I really thought that it would be like a 90 minimum. So I was like, yeah, I'll go like 91, just to, ballpark a little low, that kind of sort of thing.
There's none of the F1 games this year. There's something in the water this year with like game critics registered on OpenCritic where nothing's just quite getting there. Nothing's quite reaching that 9.
Yeah, that 9. Yeah. All the F1 games mostly earned like in the 80s Foxes, so I thought it could. Yeah, I thought it was gonna. Like I said last week, I said I went for 89 because I was thinking. I won't lie, I thought there was the reviews would drop probably today or yesterday or something. So I was thinking they'll get a high score, but by like the end of next week it'll be down to maybe like 86 or something like that. Still a respectable, fantastic number. There's no doubt about it because it's got praise like all of us, like 9s.
It looks good. I've seen you streaming it. It looks pretty cool. Like Like it does look fun.
When you pointed out that that the tire was tearing, I was like, oh yeah, that's actually kind of a cool little feature. Like
yeah,
I wonder,
that's new. That was
know?
literally new for this year. Yeah. I didn't know that was in either, so I was really happy when I saw that. But no, yeah, it's they're all like I said to Amy last week, like since like 2015, Codemasters have really like got their finger out their backsides and really have put on a cracking game where the fans of the F1 game have really loved their games in general, and they've really put on a cracking game overall for the most part for like all the games of the year go with, like which you'll find out my thoughts on F1 2021 on Monday.
That leaves the scores as follows. Fox is in last place with 5 points. Keith is in third place with 10 points. Amy in second place with 11 points. And Moody in first place with 12 points. I'm still there. I'm still hanging on. I'm still in there. Still in striking distance. This week, we're trying to guess the OpenCritic average of Cris Tales. Moody, why don't you tell everybody out there watching this podcast what you have put in my Google
I think
Doc.
this is going to be in the ballpark of what's some of the games that are all tied right now on OpenCritic, and I'm going 88.
Fair.
I think this game, just from what I played, what I talked about 2 weeks ago, looks incredible. It was so good.
I've been so excited for this game for so long. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was so refreshing and so intriguing with its gameplay mechanic, with the past and present and future mechanics they have in it. It looks really, really cool, and I hope it really does pay off in a fantastic way. I'm rooting for this game.
It's the only person who hasn't played this.
The demo is still on Steam.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. You want to quickly download it and play it, and then give us your score. But preferably in the next 30 seconds.
87. I'm gonna go one low.
Well, for me, I've had this number in my head since I wrote these show notes this morning. Like, you know, like what works for me generally is going lower than everybody else. That's generally been a strategy that's worked for me.
Going high now.
Sorry?
You're going high.
Oh, I'm going high, yeah. Like, it's generally been a strategy that worked for me. But, like, I can't, like, with this game. Like, I've been hyped for this game since EGX 2019. The last time we were allowed to go at EGX. That was when I played the game. Almost 2 years ago. So, like, I'm done. I'm going with 90. That's what I was thinking when I wrote the show notes, and I put Cris Tales as the game that we were going to do, and I was in my head going, I'm going to go 90. I think it's going to be that first game that goes to 9.
Well, there's been a lot of games that have hit like the 90s, but eventually, like over the times, they've fallen down and everything down to like 80, the 88s. Like right now on OpenCritic, there's literally
because I don't trust game reviewers. They suck
right now. Right now on OpenCritic, there's 4 games that are literally on 88, and that's It Takes Two, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Overboard, which me and Amy reviewed last time on Fashionably Late Reviews, and Monster Hunter Rise. 4 incredible games there, along with Chicory, which was what was at 90 if I remember rightly.
It was at 89 at one point, and then it was at 88, and then fucking all those grubby little game reviewers who don't like indie games got their hand on it, and they were like, "There's no fighting in this game." Shut up, Chicory, one of the best games of 2021.
And I'm looking forward to playing that when I play it. I'm looking forward to playing it when I do play it.
So
it's all in good fun.
Is Overboard a
very good game? Very, very good game.
It's like a story-driven
it's a murder mystery
adventure?
It's a murder mystery adventure game. But the thing about the mystery is you're the murderer.
Oh.
You do the murder at the beginning of the game, and you have to get away with it.
Oh, okay.
It's really good. It's really funny.
Really funny. Highly recommend it.
Same. That is going to do it for this episode of the Words About Games podcast. We need to go because we're over on time. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to close this podcast out with my own closing words instead of... Well, Moody tries to kill a fly. I'm going to close out with the same closing, with a variation of the closing words I used in last week's podcast. It's like, hi, You might have watched my performance in the Words About Games podcast episode 263 exactly 1 week ago, and I would just like to remind everybody that I still have not left the house. Thank you. It's been a terrible week.
Oh crap, I completely forgot about that. Sorry, Amy.
Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Help me.